What's good, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and today on the channel, something a little bit different than my usual content. I want to do some fantasy booking here. I want to see John Cena versus the new Daniel Bryan. And I've been saying for months this would be a very easy and simple thing to book, but saying it and then actually writing it down are two entirely different things. So strap in. I have 4 weeks of TV here and then pay-per-view. Week 1, SmackDown Live. We spend the show hyping up a special announcement in your main event from your WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan. Spend the whole evening saying, you know what, he has an announcement, we don't know what it's going to be, but it could involve the future of the WWE title, alright? Hit Bryan's music. Out comes Bryan and Rowan. The crux of his promo is this. He has run out of challengers. So instead of defending his title at the next pay-per-view, instead, the main event will be Bryan holding a class in the center of the ring to teach you how to create your own sustainable garden and reduce your impact on Mother Earth. Because he is the planet's champion, and that is what is best for the planet. And as the boos rain down on Bryan as he is running down his plan to have this in the center of the ring on pay-per-view in the main event, the music hits. It's John Cena. Crowd pops huge, Cena down to the ring, Cena tries to get face-to-face with Bryan, Rowan steps in, looks up, backs up a little bit, gets the microphone. Cena explains that he came back because of how Bryan has disgraced the WWE title. It's supposed to mean something. You've changed, D-Bry. The Bryan I knew was a humble human being, not some maniacal egomaniac trying to push his warped views on the WWE universe. Someone needs to stand up for what is right, and I guess that somebody is John Cena. Back to Bryan. I'm so glad we're not related. Now that I don't have to play nice for the reality TV cameras, I can speak the truth. John Cena is bad for the environment. You spent 15 years on top, and not once were you ever the planet's champion. Every 6 months, a new t-shirt. There are entire landfills full of old John Cena merchandise. There are sea turtles choking on pieces of plastic that read hustle, loyalty, and respect. Your lavish lifestyle, your giant house, the cars you drive, you have a carbon footprint of 50 people and you call me an egomaniac? You left the WWE to go film movies in China. Do you have any idea how much pollution China contributes on a global scale? Back to Cena, takes the hat off, rubs the bald spot, fine speech, and then begins to go into the usual Cena spiel. Bryan cuts him off. I'm not done. I don't need a lecture in morality from someone who chastised The Rock for going to Hollywood, then turned around and did the exact same thing. You're a hypocrite, John Cena. Meanwhile, I'm still here to educate the WWE universe. Back to Cena. Educate, huh? Guess it's time to take you to school. Picks him up for the AA. Bryan squirms out. Rowan grabs Cena with that claw thing, choke slams him. Bryan hits the knee. Cena rolls out. The show ends with Bryan and Rowan standing tall with Cena on the outside on the ground being beaten up. Week 2. You open the show with a video package that hypes up the history between Bryan and Cena. You have all the old footage from the WWE, you have Total Divas, Total Bellas, and that video package ends with what happened on the previous week with John Cena getting beat up in that main event promo spot. Then as the show opens, commentary informs you tonight's main event will be John Cena in his return to SmackDown Live versus Eric Rowan. Middle of the show, you have a backstage interview with Cena, who runs down Rowan, makes fun of his beard, whatever, and says he will take that WWE title from Daniel Bryan and return it to its rightful glory, etc., etc. Main event of the evening sees Cena and Rowan going head-to-head. Obviously, you have Daniel Bryan on commentary, but not actually really interfering in the match. The goal here is to make Rowan look super strong. Give Rowan a monster match against Cena and have Cena bump his ass off for Eric Rowan. With Bryan on commentary kind of reiterating the same talking points from the Week 1 promo, plus a few new talking points for him to run down John Cena and why he is bad for the environment. But John Cena, still being John Cena, overcomes the odds of Big Red Eric Rowan, wins the match, stands tall, you get the idea. Week 3, the show opens announcing a contract signing as per Triple H. we play up the fact that Triple H still does not like Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania 30, and that having Cena to take that title and restore it to its rightful form would be best for business. And just to make sure things don't get out of hand, Triple H will oversee that contract signing at the end of the show. End of the show. Contract signing. We have a very similar back and forth promo from week 1. Some personal shots and jabs between Bryan and Cena. Things start getting heated. There almost starts to be a tussle. And then somehow in all of this mess, Rowan ends up chokeslamming Triple H through the table that the contract was signed on. But still, Bryan escapes the wrath of Cena. Week 4 would be in either California or Vancouver, and that'll be important in a moment. The opening of the show replays what happened at the end of last week's show and informs you afterwards on commentary that Eric Rowan, because of his actions against Triple H, has been suspended. So Daniel Bryan no longer has his giant protector. But more importantly, neither John Cena nor Daniel Bryan has shown up to SmackDown Live yet. Nobody knows where they are. This gets played up over the course of the episode, and of course they're concerned, what does this mean for this Sunday if both guys are nowhere to be found? As we approach the end of the show, like 9:45 or so, then John Cena's music hits, and everyone pops, and out walks Daniel Bryan by himself. Bryan once again runs down why he is the Planet's champion, why he will be champion forever, and he says, perhaps you're wondering why John Cena is not here tonight. Perhaps you're wondering why I can guarantee that John Cena will not be here this Sunday. Points at the Titantron, they roll the video. The video is John Cena at a movie audition. So if you're in California or Vancouver, where they film a lot of movies, that's your logical reason for being in those cities, right? So John Cena auditioning for a movie when suddenly he is attacked by Rowan and Bryan. Picture it a lot like the classic brawl between Stone Cold and Booker T in the grocery store. The important part here is that Rowan gets most of the interaction here with Cena, and you can go from, hey, here's a set in a living room, here's a green screen set. There are a variety of different movie sets, TV sets you can go through and have all kinds of crazy action at. And of course, Cena is doing moves and cracking jokes on Rowan. But you never let him get too much offense on Daniel Bryan. But at the end of this, 10-minute brawl, you end up with Cena doing something to Rowan where it takes them both out to a degree that they kind of just vanish. They're I don't know, down an elevator shaft or something where you don't see what happens to them, but you assume it's really bad. And once you have established that they both got taken out on this movie set, then you go back to the ring with Daniel Bryan gloating that Rowan sacrificed himself to make sure Cena did not make it to this Sunday. He believes in the greater good, and he has gotten rid of John Cena forever. And this Sunday, the universe will learn to garden and be sustainable, and at that point, Cena's music hits. Bryan, shocked, looks around, no one comes out. Bryan composes himself, laughs a bit, and says, that's right, I told you, no John Cena. His music hits again, and then John Cena comes limping out, obviously bruised, battered, beaten from what happened on that movie set. Daniel Bryan in shock, in absolute shock. Cena points at him, points at perhaps the Mania sign, if it's for Mania, does the you can't see me, stare down, and the show ends there. Then you head to Sunday, pay-per-view. You know it's going to be one-on-one, no interference, clean matchup. You have a great back-and-forth contest in the main event, but John Cena, being John Cena, triumphs and becomes your 17-time world champion. And that, I think, is a fairly reasonable outline for how to get those two together for several weeks, building towards a big match. Obviously, back in the day, they used to book matches a lot longer than 4 weeks, but these days that seems pretty average for a feud. Now, as far as how you get the belt off of Cena after he wins it, that's a whole different discussion, depending on how long he plans on sticking around, etc., etc. But the important things here are, number one, you play upon those personal issues, either real or fabricated. You kind of embellish them a little bit. And number two, you spend as much time as possible making sure that any major physical interaction between Cena and Bryan, you minimize that. You don't want Cena getting his hands on Bryan before the actual pay-per-view. You want to tease that out and make you want to watch that match so Cena can finally get his hands on Bryan. In order to have a great payoff, you should have a great chase to that payoff. And that, my friends, is how you can book 4 weeks of John Cena versus the new Daniel Bryan. I'm Attack Slug. Thanks for watching. More videos on this channel. Sub for those. See you next time right here on this channel. And I'm out.